What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Today's Best Served Podcast 383, and we're getting perspective of restaurateur with Larry Hers of OCN Eats. This is episode 1 of 8 of Denver Restaurant Tik Tok Week. Very excited to kick this off. TikTok is a fucking scary word for a lot of restaurants. Short form video is really the focal point of what I'm interested in, because we have to get beyond the sexy food porn picture and into more engaging, interactive, behind the scenes, showing off all aspects and facets of the people, the process, the product. And so this week we're going to be really focused on content creators across Denver who are bringing restaurants to life in a different way. All right, I want to show a clip of Larry's channel so you can get an idea of kind of how they roll, and then we'll bring Larry in and let's get into it.
Messina Eatery and Bar opened in Park Hill 3 months ago. I came by about a month ago, checked it out. It had everything. It hits all the right notes. And this pork chop right here is why we're back right now. So what type of cuisine do they do here? It's coastal Spanish food and Latin American food. And the name Lucina is actually named after one of the owner's moms. And so this restaurant is an ode to all moms. So this is the mojo pork chop, meant to feed at least 2, maybe even 3.
All right, that's just a little taste. We will link up so you can check out the full video, but I wanted to just give you a sense of that. And I am so happy that Larry chose that restaurant, because Raz Cassiano, a very great friend of mine in the show, been on, just very visionary in the future of the industry. So unplanned, very happy. Larry, let's bring Larry in right now, that you chose them in that video. And I haven't been yet, so I'm excited. So just between you and I, did you love it? Was it great?
So when I ate there the first time, some people recommended it to me and instantly fell in love with the vibe, the drinks, the food, and the service. And I'm like, apparently I'm going to do my next episode of Restaurants Near Me in Park Hill. And you're going to be the focus of this episode, because I think they are the best new restaurant in Denver.
Yeah, they have absolutely been crushing it from top to bottom. And you and I talk a lot about the people behind the product and the process, and Ras and his whole team have been really focused on elevating them. You see their content, their stories, they're showing off their people, they're talking about what's happening behind the scenes, something you and I both believe in. And that's another layer of your show that I think is interesting, right? You hit 5 restaurants in 5 hours in a single kind of neighborhood. So you go deep and wide in a neighborhood, which I absolutely love, because the Denver restaurant scene, and any restaurant scene, isn't monolithic. There are these pockets and nuances. So what is something interesting about when you go into a neighborhood that you maybe don't expect to find, but after 5 restaurants, it kind of crystallizes for you?
Well, we've done 41 episodes of Restaurants Near Me.
Congrats.
One of these things, you come up with this idea, and we just went out and shot the first episode. We didn't even tell the restaurants we were coming, and some of them were like, no, you can't film.
No, you can't film here.
And we even paid for our food the first episode, and then we realized, all right, maybe we should plan this out a little more. Some neighborhoods I'm very familiar with the restaurants, right, and others, I don't know any of them. I sometimes it's restaurants that I've eaten at before, so I pick them to do, like Lucina. That was the whole reason why I did that episode. But other times I'm going to neighborhoods and I have to just rely on Google, because I won't go to that other review site, and find the highest rated restaurants. And as an example, like I went to Golden, and this was the second time we were filming them. So I just looked, and I find this D Deli who doesn't have an Instagram, and they were the #1 rated restaurant in Golden. I'm like, well, I have to see what this is about.
Let's go.
A little sandwich shop is the #1 rated restaurant, and it was unbelievable. And so, I mean, that's just what it is, and people, of course, in Golden, they love it. They know it. They're so happy that somebody from the big city, recognizes this little mom and pop place that they always know, and they, go to. Sometimes people get mad, they're like
it's a hidden gem and want to keep it hidden
for us. All these city folk are going to come in.
Well, here's the interesting part, and then I want to get into the restaurateur side of your perspective, is it pushes you to go beyond just the hype of the day. right? It goes beyond just like the restaurant that's getting all the attention right now, because you're pushing yourself to go check out 5 restaurants. And to your point, in certain neighborhoods, you may have only heard of one restaurant, let alone been to the restaurant. So I really like that you are challenging yourself, and then also just recognizing neighborhoods like Park Hill. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard Park Hill. Who the fuck is in Park Hill? I don't even remember. The fact that you're bringing attention to the neighborhood, I think, is really, really important as well. So then the other layer is you bring a perspective as a restaurateur, right? 20 plus years as a restaurateur. You've been through the gauntlet that many of us know so well. And so you bring that perspective. Tell me how you're able to kind of see beyond just the facade of the restaurant, because you always seem to capture that little something extra, more personal, more underlying story that the restaurant might not even know is the thing behind the thing that's the real thing.
It's just like what we're talking about here and what me and you have talked about on social media. Sure, I could go and film the restaurant, show the food, but I'm also trying to tell a story in a very short period of time, capturing the food, the drink, and what they do there, or why they do it, who's doing it, the people behind it. And I don't show the people generally either, but it's the people that make the restaurant. So I always want to talk about the people. And yeah, sometimes I just met them 5 minutes beforehand, and I do a short little interview and try and explain to people, and again, in a very short period of time, who they are and why they are doing what they do. When we do the show, when I pick the 5 restaurants, I'm always looking for a variety of cuisines and price points in a neighborhood. Some neighborhoods are, there's hundreds of choices. Sometimes it's not that easy to choose. But I want this show to be for everybody, no matter what your budget is, what your taste is. But what's funny is I don't ever see the menu. I don't pick the food, because this is every restaurant I go to. It's not about me. And I think that's the difference in my perspective from influencers. Influencers, they want the free meal. I don't care about the food. I'm not there for a free meal. I'm there to work. It's my job. Mm-hmm. I'm there to make that restaurant look as good as humanly possible in the 1 hour that we're there, which ends up being 1 minute of content. So they know what's the good food is. They know what's important to them.
Yeah.
And so yes, sometimes I'm eating things that I would never order.
Yeah, you're asking them to be like, what do you believe in? What do you stand for? What is the dish, the food, the drink that best represents you? Versus like, I have my likes and dislikes, so I'm going to order like a robot at a restaurant and order the thing that feels the safest to me. Now, I like that. Again, you're challenging yourself outside those preconceived notions that we have about what a restaurant is. And you mentioned the 5-minute interview with them. If you've been through the same things, the same fire, it takes 5 minutes, and you look in their eyes and you know that they understand you and you understand them. So I think that's another unique thing where it just feels like you get them, even if it is, to your point, only a couple minutes. And an hour into 1 minute of content, how the hell do you pick 1 minute of content? Because I'm sure you're just like, there's so much that I could cover. How do you even go through the process of highlighting 60 seconds worth of the best?
I don't.
Yeah.
I have an editor.
Smart.
And he's phenomenal.
Take it out of your hands.
We're not filming a whole hour, but we get there, it's B-roll, probably 10 minutes.
Yep.
And the food comes. I don't know. It just seems like there's always an hour. But yeah, I don't know what he does with the rest of the content, but after each episode, I'm always like, well, I've gotten better now, but especially at the beginning, I'm like, God, that sucked. I suck. And a good editor can turn
it look good
into gold, and he really does. I hope I never lose him. I love you, Sean.
Yeah, and also I'm sure after a while there's a shorthand that's created where he can really get a sense of your physical reactions to things, the looks. You point in a certain way, you like have certain words that just like jump out at you when you just have such a visceral response to something. And so I think you start to recognize like, oh, that was a moment, which I think is important to kind of understand. Really appreciate that. One last little quick, give me a little something. Okay. You are a restaurant promoter, not a restaurant critic, and you're very vocal about that. Why, and what's the difference?
Yeah, so I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. So to me, a critic is going in anonymously and will say both the good and the bad.
Okay.
I would never say anything bad on social media. In person, sure, I'll tell you how I really believe of a restaurant.
Sure. Fair.
But no, everybody's busting their asses to put butts in seats, and I did it for 29 years. And who am I to say anything negative about the place? Now, also, they know I'm coming. Most restaurants actually invite me, and then they pick the food. So, like on TikTok, I just had a guy post. He's like, "How come you love everything you eat? You can't love everything." I'm like, actually, if you think about it,
kind of can.
Yeah, I'm going to great restaurants. They know I'm coming, and they're picking their 2 best dishes.
Yeah.
There isn't even the worst restaurants have 2 good dishes.
I hope.
You know? I mean, yeah. And so, of course, there are things that are more my taste or more my style, but I have to be enthusiastic. If I'm not enthusiastic about the food, then I'm not doing my job. And yes, there are moments, if you watch enough episodes, it would be like, holy, am I allowed to curse?
Hell yeah.
Holy shit, he really loved that. And what's funny is that's usually like my real, like, when I love something, it does get a curse, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes my director, he's like, yeah, can we do that again? That didn't seem sincere. I'm like, if we do it again, it won't be sincere.
It won't be sincere. This was sincere. This is just my delivery. Oh, I love it. I really, really appreciate the work that you're doing, highlighting restaurants, and everyone definitely check out the article of the roundup, because really great insights from Larry as somebody who manages social media for some restaurants, of behind the scenes, the process, the people. It has to be about more than what's just on the plate. And Larry, one of the best in the business, is highlighting that. So Larry, thanks for the work that you do, and always a pleasure talking with you.
We're done already?
That's it, man. We're done. We're going to cut this down to 1 minute. Let's go.
less of me, the better. Thanks,
All right,
Jensen.
appreciate you. Cheers. All right, everyone. That is it for episode 1 of 8 of the series. Larry Hers with OCN Eats. One of the greats when it comes to social media, TikTok, Instagram. Learned a lot about Instagram from Larry over the years. So this is going to be all week long. Check out the episodes, check out the content creators, learn a little bit as somebody who's dining at restaurants, and also especially for those within the restaurants, of what it's going to take to really be able to promote and market your business in a meaningful and thoughtful way with all the social media tools you have at your disposal. That's it. Appreciate you all. Cheers.